Thank you very much, Amitji, for this wonderful opportunity. I'm very pleased to be on this panel. So, I have been in the automotive industry for past 36 years, and earlier I was working in several OEMs and auto components industry. Now, for last 10 years, I have been running my own company, and now 2 years ago we launched our first electric vehicle. As you know, in automotive industry, a very significant change is happening from IC engine to electric, globally, and it is going to happen in India also in a very big way. And you know, I would like to talk about opportunities and the challenges. Of course, financial challenges everybody talked about. That is one thing, but there are, I would say, the opportunities are equally great, and I classify them in four sort of segment. One is the economic opportunity, then there is a technology opportunity, and social opportunity, and last but not the least, the environmental impact opportunity. I'm talking in the context of the electric vehicles. The most significant or profound change that we will see in the history of automobile of more than 100 years. Now, in the automotive industry in India, it is MSMEs are a very significant part of it. Almost there are more than 10,000 companies in the unorganized sector, and more than 500 or 600 in the organized sector. So it's a very large industry, as you know, and automotive has a very intense supply chain. There are component suppliers, sub-component supplier, assembly supplier, materials. Then on the tertiary, there are logistic companies, warehousing, packaging, etc., etc. So it's a very large ecosystem under which the whole automotive operates. Now we have to look at this change that is coming, IC engine to electric, and what is going to be the impact on MSME of this change, because a large number of auto component part maker will have to undergo this shift of it's a huge technology shift. Engine is gone, the powertrain of a traditional IC engine car is gone, automobile is gone, and it is replaced by a battery and the powertrain of a electric vehicle. So I am talking about the opportunity, the economic opportunity. It's a very large industry, as you know. It is about $54 billion industry in India, and there are projections that it will become maybe 400 times. We produce 4 million cars, another about 1 million commercial vehicles, and about 20 million two-wheelers in a year. So that's a very significant number. And generally, the health of the automobile industry is seen as a barometer of the economy of your country. If automobile is doing well, then economy is doing well or should be doing well. It is generally seen that way because it shows the the purchasing power of people and the aspirational purchases, etc. So in that context, I do see that this is a very big opportunity for the MSME sector to participate in this whole movement of changeover from IC engine to the electric vehicle, technology. The components are lesser in electric vehicle. For example, a typical IC engine has got a vehicle has got about 2,000 parts. Here it is just about 200. There is a motor, there is a controller, there are other electronics, powertrain, etc. And large number of these could be done by the MSME. For example, the motor or the controller and electronics. As modern, the car technologies are evolving, the new age cars or the automobile have almost 55%, more than 50% of the cost of the vehicle is IT, the software and the electronics that goes into it. There is a study by Deloitte which shows this thing. So it is clear that the connected cars and the whole connectivity to the grid, to your IoT, using IoT, artificial intelligence, etc. So there is a huge opportunity for the service sector within the MSME to become part of this as part of the IT industry. And India has, is like a global power or whatever you call it in the IT. So that is where I do see a huge amount of opportunity coming, not only in India, but global. So we could become a part of the global automobile industry in this new paradigm of electric vehicles. It's a huge opportunity, something that did not happen in the IC engine era. Even though we are a large automotive industry, probably number 4 in terms of car manufacturing, etc. But we really don't see made in India cars running in mature markets like Europe or Japan or USA. So most of the vehicle manufacturing has been domestic centric. And because the domestic consumption has been growing, so the manufacturers, the auto component manufacturer, etc., have not really looked towards the global opportunities of OEM as well as aftermarket. Of course, the quality delivery, the program management, etc., will have to be built in. That is there. But I do see this is a huge opportunity coming in. Now, looking at the social opportunity, as I said, I see that this electric vehicle is a social, is a movement. It has a large impact on this society, and socio-political, socio-economical impact. You see, these vehicles, for example, 2-wheeler, 3-wheelers, are used in the last mile mobility cargo segment, food delivery, cargo delivery, etc. And it could be converted into a, for example, a street cart, a food cart, or something like a repair shop. Instead of a hand-drawn cart, it can be done that way. We are working very closely with government on this, and we are going to launch a pilot project in UP, where some of our vehicles, the 3-wheelers, would be converted in these sort of applications and given to the rural youth. So it's an empowerment vehicle. It is something like a cell phone. Imagine, when today the smartphone is a business enabler for a very large section of the society. Even the vegetable seller, or an electrician or a carpenter, you can call him and he uses it to network and to enhance his business. So this is where the MSMEs have to play a role. Not only look at the the cities or the developed markets inside India, but go towards the the rural or the not so developed areas, terrains, and create these opportunities. Also, it will develop the skills of these people. I'm taking the school to these people because of the pandemic. There is a restriction, etc., etc. Even without pandemic, also a large population section of the population drops off after a certain time because of several constraints or reasons. Take the case of construction industry. It is probably the second most disorganized industry in India, after agriculture. The way buildings are made, the way labor starts working, their children, come in, they also start working, etc., etc. So if we, instead of taking them to school, we bring the school to them using our vehicles. The vehicle can be converted into a mobile library, mobile school. So these are the areas where a very profound social impact can be made by small companies, not very large corporates and all. See, large corporates are busy doing other things. I have nothing against them. But what I'm saying is this is a huge opportunity for the MSME sector. Then comes the technology. We all know, I talked about the new age technologies like software, code writing, etc., etc. There are huge opportunities in them, and become a part of the global supply chain. This is where the industry has to look forward to, and something that did not happen in the IC engine era. We have to look at becoming a global industry, not just a domestic industry. Have that confidence, even if it is a small industry, or it doesn't matter. Even $1 trillion market cap companies also started from garages or small shops. So that's the power of the technology. That is the power of connectivity today. You can be sitting in Jharkhand, or you can be in Manhattan. The amount of information that you can access using internet is same. You can use it. The point is, what do you do with that information? So I do see that there are huge opportunities coming up in this change of paradigm in my industry, which is the automotive. I'm not an expert of any other industry, but this is something that I thought I must put forward. Now, look at the role of the government, in this. And I'm very happy to see that the government policies are very conducive today towards a very strong push towards this changeover from IC engine to electric. Government has come up with several schemes, including schemes for the MSME sector to become a very large and a significant part of this whole new, industry of electric vehicles. There is a PLI scheme wherein the cell manufacturing, etc., advanced cell chemistry is being promoted. On the supply side, then there is a scheme for localization of powertrain, motors, etc. On the demand side, there is a scheme for the setting up of charging stations, again, which could be done by the MSME, the small scale industries. And the government is incentivizing, popularizing these vehicles by the FAME 2 subsidy incentives, etc. So we do see a government focus both on the supply side as well as on the demand side. Now, the point is that, such a rapid changeover can only happen when all the stakeholders come together. Government is one, industry is other, then there is going to be the energy companies, grid supply companies, maybe small solar cell energy suppliers, and the finance companies. Obviously, finance in India for the automotive, particularly in the commercial segment, plays a huge role. Almost 90% of the commercial vehicles in India are financed. This is where there is a challenge today. I mean, the finance sector is shying away for financing these electric vehicles. They have their reasons. There is a perception in the mind that this is a poor quality vehicle, and the after sale or the residual life is a question mark, etc. Now, as the manufacturers, as the industry, we will have to clear this perception that this vehicle that I produce, obviously it has to be backed by performance of our technology, our vehicle performance, that this vehicle is as good as an IC engine vehicle, and it runs in terms of performance, in terms of economic benefits, and in terms of safety, comfort, etc. So this is where the industry has to play the role. But at the same time, the banks and the financial institutions, lenders, etc., they will have to take a call. And we have been making representation to government and various forums that, there should be, this kind of financing can be brought in under priority lending scheme. And also the state-run banks, anyway, more than 70% of the banks are state-owned. They have to pitch in. Otherwise, the NBFCs or the private lenders, they are financing at a very high rate of interest, something like 18 to 20%. And then it makes the whole, the vehicle, for example, a three-wheeler, which a small businessman would be running in the fleet of, the logistic fleet of e-commerce companies or intra-city movement, etc., unviable if you are borrowing at 22%. So this is where I think the institutions will have to play a role and work as a stakeholder, as a partner to the industry. So, I do see that these opportunities of, in terms of economic opportunity, social opportunity, technological, and we all know about the environmental impact that, a non-polluting vehicle can make to the society. We have seen during the pandemic, you could see Himalayas from certain parts of Punjab, and, you could see birds roaming around in the streets. So that's a kind of a pleasure, or experience, or the nature is telling us to reboot. I think this is where the whole concept of pollution, the whole carbon footprint, etc., comes in. And a non-polluting vehicle or a zero polluting vehicle, direct in terms of direct pollution from electric vehicle, is the clear winner. So ironically, these opportunities are also, in these segments, the challenges are also in the same segments. It is a economic challenge, it is a social challenge, it is a technological challenge, as well as the environmental challenge. So both sides, we have the opportunity as well as we have the set of challenges. But as Chancellor Saab said, innovation is the key, and this is where I'm very happy to see that his university is working with entrepreneurs, smaller businessmen, etc. We ourselves have our own lab where we train people. We train, the some of the poorer section of the people and for their skill up. And we have an MOU with IIT Delhi to in their incubation center to work on the enhancing the efficiency of the vehicle, etc. So I think this is how the industry and academic have to work together, and which usually doesn't happen much in India. But this again is an opportunity where academic with their wealth of knowledge, it can be transferred to the industry, and the whole society gains. So this is how I think the whole ecosystem has to be created. And in the context of my industry, the automotive, I can tell you that this is probably the best chance that we have now. This whole electric vehicle industry, which is panning up, and with the support of government and other stakeholders, I think this is a great chance for next 5 to 10 years to become a really successful industry and provide a huge economic, social benefit to a very large section of the society through the MSMEs. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. See, the business, when you are connecting not only for the commercial aspect, you are taking care for the nature. That should be our in the first line goal actually. And your electric vehicles, these are the need of the hours in India, not only the global basis. Thank you for that effort, sir. My one humble question is that you, as a representative of automotive sector, industry, as a stakeholder, what your say to the NBFC as far the capital is concerned, and your say to the government, what all is left to add to empower this automotive sector?
See, as far as the government is concerned, I would say that never in the past we have seen such a sustained push from the government. The present government, even in their first tenure, the minister has been extremely sensitive to this whole issue of pollution, environmental and sustainability, etc. And he set very clear targets, goals. India went from BS4 to BS6 for the IC engines. So government has been extremely supportive on this sector, but as we have had several eminent speakers talk about the credit guarantee, etc. I would say that being a person on the ground, I can tell you these schemes of the guarantee, etc. are good, but the procedures involved and the whole formalities, etc. they take a lot of time. We for us, time is money. It is something that we monetize, and we create goods and services, and we add wealth and change to a large number of people. So if I spend most of my time in the banks and filling up the documents and paperwork, then it's a problem for me. So this is where I think I would request that banks also have to become part of this whole ecosystem, become and hold hands of the entrepreneurs, and see if today technology is available. Using artificial intelligence, you can check, not wait for the NPA to happen, but it can be red flagged in advance that there is going to be or could be a problem. This is where I think the investment fraternity has to come out with some innovative products and not wait for the industry to evolve and generate and take care of itself, and then will enter it. Probably then many of them probably would have missed the bus. There is a more than $1 billion opportunity in, for example, in the three-wheeler financing alone. today, which they are not so seem to be keen on. But I think gradually, as I said, there is a perception that electric vehicles are low quality, low life, etc. I think this is also our responsibility to tell them, teach them, educate them, show them, demonstrate them that this vehicle is even though it's a new technology, but it's a mature technology. It's a safe vehicle, and you can be rest assured. And as far as the business robustness of business model is concerned, they are backed by contracts. For example, a large number of e-commerce companies like Amazons and Walmarts, etc. They have now policy that the entire fleet will be converted into electric in next 10 to 20 years. Even in India, these are global companies and the policies are there. So I think a little bit of creativity and innovation is required on part of the NBFCs or the lending institutions. And this is where I think it will make a difference to a very large section of the society. I think that's what I would request them, to come on board and work with us, support us, and I think we can do it. We can make it success.
Mukherjee sir, just to aware you that Mr. Sachin Nath is here, the managing director and the executive chairman, Ugrow Capital. What he was telling that they have adopted for the lending very technological and simplified way. Just GST registration with the OTP,
yes,
and the bank statement. Two things.
Yes.
Because any lender is just looking the capacity to pay back actually.
Yes.
And no collaterals, because in India for the businessman, collaterals are basic challenges actually. If you are really doing business with the ethic codes, then the people like Sachin and Naji is there just to share your detail. Yes, you have done the job, and this is your bank statement, and they will ready to pay in an hour.
I really appreciate Sachin's initiative and the product that they have, just with one document. And that's, I think, the way it should be. Use the technology to make life simple. That should be the whole aim for a very large section of the society, and make it economical. Otherwise, it is not a disruptive technology. Disruptive technology is, for the bottom of the pyramid and a very high quality. People make mistake that when they talk about products for the large section of the society, then they think that it has to be cheap, low quality, etc. But that is not the aim of a disruptive technology. So I'm very happy, and I would really request him to, become part of this whole ecosystem and come out with and become part of it. We welcome such partners, and I think that is the need of the hour.
Sachin sir, would you like to share something on this point?
No, so I think so, especially for Dr. Mukherjee's space. So I think so. I know that right now, most of the EV vehicle, obviously, there are many platforms which is coming, manufacturers. It is highly digitized, you can control. If you look at lending, actually, the lending is about deep specialization. So vehicle finance, for example, or what we call wheels financing, there are a large number of players who are in wheel financing business and who are dedicated to understand the underlying collateral type. So you have Shriram Transport Finance, you have Indostar, you have all the banks doing wheel financing. I think the reason why you are facing currently the challenge, because they don't understand. While vehicle is a vehicle, you change this energy type, it should not make any difference. But today the problem is that they have lack of, we don't do vehicle financing, but they don't understand the difference between a petrol run three-wheeler versus an electrical run three-wheeler. But I think it's just a matter of time, because vehicle financing, as it happens for other other segment, would start happening there. I think so. If for a platform like you, if you can tie up with most of the lenders who are in wheels financing or vehicle financing, CV businesses, they would be very willing to do financing for EV as well. So there is actually this, if you purely look from a lender's perspective, EV being green in nature, the international refinancing is very cheap for that, because there are roughly around more than $1 trillion is chasing green financing, and electric vehicle being part of the green would get very easy refinancing. So In my conversation, last actually 3 or 5 days, I have seen 5 young platforms. Some are technology platforms, some are, who does OTP, devices which can control vehicle charging stations, coming to me saying that we want to do this, but vehicle finance are not financing EV vehicles. This is a little surprising for me, but I think so it's just a matter of time.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Sachin ji. Just a quick point I would like to make here. They are not entirely wrong, because you see what has happened. Unfortunately, the EVization in India, the electrification in India started with the low-end cheap Chinese imports. These are the low-end imports, which, the vehicle life is just about 6 months. The vehicle costs about 40,000-50,000 rupees. So I don't say that they are wrong. The perception in the mind is that this is a sasta gaadi hai, jugaru type hai, and that is what exactly it is. So this is something that, some opportunistic entrepreneurs here did that, to make a quick buck. So I'm not questioning, what they did and why they did. But the point here is now the industry is maturing with the, the support of government, like the PLI scheme. Then EESL is coming with a huge, buying program. They have been mandated by government to purchase 3 lakh three-wheelers, that 10 lakh two-wheeler, etc., etc. So I think this whole perception has to change, as well as the industry has to come forward with really robust vehicles. We have designed that vehicle completely in-house. There is nothing, import from China, etc. So it's our job to demonstrate to them, to the finance industry.
Dr. Mukherjee, I don't understand vehicle business. Today morning, I got a mail from three people who said that we are manufacturers and suppliers of EV two-wheelers or bikes. Their email ID was from Gmail, and they said we have an order from Blue Dart to supply 500 two-wheelers, and would you be willing to finance that? So obviously I said to them that, look, we don't do it, but fact is that if somebody comes and say, I have an order from Blue Dart to supply 500 500 Hero bikes or 500 Honda bikes or 500 Bajaj bikes, everyone would say, okay, you are deploying this fleet to Blue Dart, and the vehicle is this, its resale value is this much. It's no gamer. But if somebody who, you just don't know what the vehicle is, who these guys are, and they're saying they have a 500 vehicle order, you think of a lender perspective, how he will react. He will just not even understand that what if these vehicles go off the road and there is no EMI payment, whether I can repurchase this vehicle and sell, whether there is a resale market or not. Today, a Hero bike after 2 years has a depreciated value of 30 years, you can take the bike and sell in the second-hand market. So this is the problem of non-standardization of.
No, I completely agree. I agree. That is a problem. That is a big part of the problem, and that's what I said. That is the perception and a reality. Also, there are 200 companies in India who have sprung up, and many of them have been funded also. I don't know how the investor sees and funds them, but that is what it is. Young startups, etc. But I completely agree with you. The vehicle quality, durability, robustness has to be proven by the industry. That's our job. And then we can stake a claim for financing. Thank you so much. Thank you, Amiji. I took a little more time, but thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sachin Naji and Dr. Dev.